Hare Krishna. Today we are going to study the second verse of the 6th chapter of Bhagwat Gita as it is. The name of this chapter is Dhyan Yoga. Till now, we have studied about Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, and then in the 5th chapter, that is Karma Yoga, which means to work in Krishna consciousness. And now we have started with the Dhyan Yoga. One word is common in all these, and that word is Yoga. Yoga means connection. So one thing is absolutely clear, that we have to get connected with someone, which is why in Bhagwat Gita, all the different yogas are explained. We started with Karma Yoga in chapter number 3, and we learned how to become Nishkam, which means to work without any fruitive desire. Nishkam karma cleans the heart and mind of a person, and then the person has to practice sense control by two methods. The first is the process of Gyan Yoga, and the second path is the process of Dhyan Yoga. So it's very clear that every person has to do Nishkam karma, and after it, if one reads the scriptures and understands the transient and fleeting nature of all the material things and understands that nothing comes free in this material world, and to achieve anything in this material world, one has to put in a lot of hard work, and then there is no guarantee that there will be success. And even if success is achieved, then there is no assurance that success will stay permanently, because everything is temporary. So in the beginning also there is sorrow, because a lot of hard work is involved in it, and at the end also there is sorrow when the enjoyment ends. Nothing is permanent in this material world. Sorrow is bound to be experienced, and a person who understands and believes it does not indulge in any kind of efforts to accumulate the material things, and is always absorbed in the thoughts of merging with the effulgence of the Supreme Brahma, which is known as the path of Gyan, and merging into the impersonal Brahma. But everyone is not so intelligent to read and have belief in the scriptures. So for them, the path of Dhyan Yoga is recommended, in which the process of Ashtanga Yoga, the senses are controlled. So it means that Dhyan Yoga is meant for those people who can't control their senses by Gyan Yoga. And the ultimate aim of Gyan Yoga and Dhyan Yoga is to control the senses and to become eligible for the Bhakti Yoga. In the process of Bhakti Yoga, the person starts practicing the various practices of Bhakti, such as listening to Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, which is known as Shravan. And then comes glorifying Krishna and his pastimes, which is called Kirtan. And by constant Shravan and Kirtan, Krishna permanently stays in the memory of the person, which is known as Smaran. Thus, by doing the various practices of Bhakti Yoga, the person gradually elevates in the devotional path. So to understand all the different yogas in very simple manner, one can understand like this: Karma Yoga is compulsory for everyone, whether in Gyan Yoga or Dhyan Yoga, as it further purifies the heart and mind of a person, making him gradually grow in the devotional path. The path of Gyan Yoga is through knowledge, and the path of Dhyan Yoga is a mechanical process, where the person has to sit in a certain way with half closed eyes and has to control the breathing as well. All the different yoga is mentioned so that people can choose and practice and get back to Krishna, because Krishna is our whole and we are a part and parcel of him. Now I am very sure that we all have understood properly the main purpose behind the different yoga, and after understanding it properly, we can choose for ourselves according to our ability and practice it, and gradually elevate ourselves in the platform of bhakti, and from there finally get back to Godhead, that is to Golok Vrindavan Dham. Now let us start with the verse number 2 of the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Yam sannyasam iti prahu yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya asanyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. Yam sannyasam iti prahu yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya asanyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. Yam sannyasam iti prahu yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya asanyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. Krishna says that, O Pandav, O son of Pandu, Arjun, what is called renunciation is the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme. For no one can become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. Yam sannyasam iti prahu yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya asanyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. Let us read the Anvay given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Yam, which. Sannyasam, renunciation of work. Iti, that. Prahu, they call, that is, the wise men call. Yogam, yoga through selfless action. Tam, that. Vidhi, no. Pandava, O son of Pandu, that is Arjun. Na, not. He indeed. Asanyasta, sankalpa, one who is able to renounce the desire to enjoy the fruits of action. Yogi, a yogi. Bhavati, can become. Kaschana, anyone. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Krishna says, O Arjun, know that what the wise call cessation of action or karma sannyas is the same as yoga, because one who is unable to give up the desire for the fruits of action and sense enjoyment can never become a yogi. To understand this in easy words, it means that to renounce the fruits of action is the factual meaning of the word sannyas, and to stabilize the mind so that it is not disturbed by the sense objects is the meaning of the word yoga. Therefore, the meaning of both sannyas and yoga is one. Those who are asanyasta sankalp, who have neither given up the desire for the fruits of their action nor the desire for sense enjoyment, can never be called yogis. Very clearly it is said that those who are asanyast sankalp, which means who have neither given up the desire for the fruits of their action nor the desire for sense enjoyment, can never be called yogis. By reading the Anvay of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, we have clearly understood that sannyas does not mean to leave the work, that is the prescribed duty. Rather, sannyas means to renounce the fruits of the work, and the yogi means not to have any desire for sense enjoyment. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Now we will read the purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavon ki jai. Srila Prabhupada says that real sannyas yoga or bhakti means that one should know his constitutional position as the living entity and act accordingly. The living entity has no separate, independent identity. He is the marginal energy of the Supreme. When he is entrapped by material energy, he is conditioned. And when he is Krishna conscious or aware of the spiritual energy, then he is in his real and natural state of life. Prabhupada says that when one is in complete knowledge, one ceases all material sense gratification or renounces all kinds of sense gratificatory activities, which means the complete knowledge is the knowledge of the Supreme and knowledge of his own position, that he is the part and parcel of Krishna and his real identity is to serve Krishna. Jiver Swarup Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. This is practiced by the yogis who restrain the senses from material attachment. But a person in Krishna consciousness has no opportunity to engage his senses in anything which is not for the purpose of Krishna. Therefore, a Krishna conscious person is simultaneously a sannyasi and a yogi. The purpose of knowledge and of restraining senses as prescribed in the Gyan and Yoga process is automatically served in Krishna consciousness. If one is unable to give up the activities of his selfish nature, then Gyan and Yoga are of no use. The real aim is for a living entity to give up all selfish satisfaction and to be prepared to satisfy the Supreme. A Krishna conscious person has no desire for any kind of self-enjoyment. He is always engaged for the enjoyment of the Supreme Krishna. One who has no information of the Supreme must therefore be engaged in self-satisfaction, because no one can stand on the platform of inactivity. It means that no one can be inactive for even 1 second. And when the person does not have the complete knowledge that Krishna is supreme and he is a part and parcel of Krishna, and that material energy is Krishna's belonging, and then this person engages his senses in engaging into the sense gratification activities of the material world. But a person who has complete knowledge never engages in any kind of sense enjoyment or self-enjoyment. Rather, he is always engaged for the enjoyment of Supreme. All these purposes are perfectly served by the practice of Krishna consciousness. It means that the process of Gyan Yoga and the process of Dhyan Yoga is completely practiced in a very easy manner in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada is explaining to us that why the yoga system is given to the living entities. We have been given Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Dhyan Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. By now, we are well versed by the meaning of the word yoga. Yoga means connection. And the yoga system is meant only for the human beings, which means that we humans need to understand these different yoga systems, and then by practicing it, we must revive our lost connection with the Supreme Lord, whose part and parcel we are. Srila Prabhupada explains that we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord and we do not have any independent identity. We, being the part of Krishna, are very small and insignificant energy. In this entire creation, there are 3 entities. The first is the Supreme Lord, who is the supreme absolute spiritual energy. The second is the material world, which is the external energy of the Supreme Lord and is completely under the control of the Supreme Lord, as the Supreme Lord is the owner of the entire creation. Now, the third entity is we, the human beings. We are the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord. We are called the marginal because we are in between the Lord and the material nature. If we desire to enjoy the material nature, then we get entrapped by the material energy, and we can never enjoy the material nature because it does not belong to us. This material nature belongs to Krishna to help us so that we don't fall in the trap of sense enjoyment. The various yoga system is given to us. Karma Yoga is compulsory for everyone. Karma Yoga means doing every work for the happiness of Krishna and not for the desire of enjoying the fruits of the work. This is known as Nishkam Karma, which means doing all the work which one should do as a duty and never have a thought to enjoy the fruits of one's own work. Then after practicing Nishkam Karma Yoga, the person's heart and mind becomes purified from the contamination of sense enjoyment. At this stage, there are two paths for further advancement in sense control. The first path is of Gyan Yoga, which we have studied in the 4th chapter of Bhagwat Gita, and the second path is of Dhyan Yoga, which we are about to study in the 6th chapter, which we have just begun. In Gyan Yoga, we came to know that everything that we see in this material world is temporary and not meant for our sense gratification, because we are not the proprietor of this material world. And one more very important thing we learned in the Gyan Yoga, that everything that we see in this material world has a beginning and an ending. And to attain anything in this material world involves a lot of hard work. And when the happiness ends, it gives a lot of pain. For example, every parent wants their children to get married. And to get them married, parents have to look for suitable match, spend a lot of money, and after the marriage, if the boy or girl, they are not happy in their married life, then it gives a lot of pain, lot of sorrow to the parents. Suppose the couple is happy amongst themselves, but for some reason they remain childless, then again there is a reason of sorrow. If they have children, but the children are unruly, disobedient, and complaints come from society and school, again there is a reason for anxiety, tension, and sorrow. So by all these examples, we can understand that nobody can ever claim in this material world that they will be permanently happy and tension free. So the people who understand from the scriptures, they never put their efforts to enjoy in this material world, and they are called the Gyanis. They control their senses from all kinds of sense enjoyment merely by taking the knowledge from the scriptures. But everyone cannot be like the Gyanis. So for them, for sense control, the path of Dhyan Yoga is recommended, which is a mechanical process. In Dhyan Yoga, there are 8 limbs like Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharan, Dhyan, and finally Samadhi. In Yam, it is taught to refrain from all the things which is restricted in the scriptures, like intoxication, gambling, meat eating, and having illegal relationship. Then in Niyam, it is taught to do the prescribed work according to the Varn ashram and do 16 rounds of chanting, at least 16 rounds of chanting of Mahamantra every day. Then in Asan, people are trained how to sit in a proper posture, which will be helpful for all kinds of breathing exercise. And by doing all these practices of the Ashtanga Yoga, a person gradually learns how to control his senses. So we see that the main aim of the Gyan Yoga and Dhyan Yoga is to control the senses, because if the senses are not controlled, then the person cannot do devotional practice, that is the Bhakti Yoga. In today's verse, we have come to know that a person who does all his prescribed work only as a duty and not in want to enjoy the fruits of his work is a sannyasi. And when a person does not have any desire to enjoy any material objects is a yogi. So a sannyasi and a yogi is same, as he links himself with the Supreme Lord. And no one can become a yogi unless he has renounced the desire for all kinds of sense gratification. This is the definition of a real sannyasi and a yogi. Now let us understand the importance and need of yoga. Srila Prabhupada says that if a finger or any other part of the body is amputated from the body, then the whole body will suffer the absence of that body part. And that part being separated from the whole body will start decaying in no time. Let's see one more example. Suppose if from a big fire a small piece of charcoal falls out. For some time the charcoal which has fallen out will have the heat and light, but gradually both heat and light will die. But if someone picks up the same small charcoal and puts it back in the big fire, then it will regain both the quality of fire, that is heat and light. This is the same thing for each one of us. We are a part and parcel of Krishna. Somehow we have fallen in this temporary material world. And out of love and mercy, Krishna has given us Bhagwat Gita, and Krishna has sent his personal associate Srila Prabhupada and all our Guru Parampara and the 6 Goswamis to guide us so that we can reconnect back with Krishna and go back to Krishna in Golok Vrindavan Dham. And for this, the various paths are given to us as options. Karma Yoga is compulsory for everyone because without Nishkam Karma Yoga, the heart and mind doesn't get clean from the contamination of the thoughts of enjoying the material world, whose proprietor is Krishna. This is why Krishna has explained to us all the yogas like Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga and now Dhyan Yoga, so that we can understand properly and then choose. Srila Prabhupada says that amongst all the paths of Gyan, Dhyan and Bhakti, Bhakti is the easiest, because in Bhakti the person does all the work only for the happiness of Krishna, and he does not indulge in doing anything which does not have any connection with Krishna. Since he does everything for the happiness of Krishna, so he is a sannyasi and a yogi also. A bhakt or a devotee doesn't have to do separately any control of his senses. He may work in an office or may do any business, or he may be a student, or maybe in any order or varn of life, but he is simply untouched by the desire of any kind of sense enjoyment, because he is full-time absorbed in Krishna by listening to the Krishna Katha and Kirtan and by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Srila Prabhupada says that this process of Bhakti Yoga is the easiest to revive the lost connection with Krishna. A Krishna conscious devotee is a true sannyasi and a yogi because he has the complete knowledge. Bhogtaram yajnatapasam sarvalok maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutana gyatvam mam shantim richati. This is the verse of the 5th chapter, verse number 29, the last verse in the 5th chapter. A devotee has a complete knowledge. Krishna is the ultimate enjoyer because he is the supreme proprietor of all the planets and demigods, and he is the most loving friend and well-wisher of every living. Having this complete knowledge, a devotee does all his work only to please Krishna and never has any thoughts to enjoy this material world. And thus, he is a sannyasi and a yogi, and a person who has not renounced the desire for sense gratification is not a sannyasi or a yogi. I thank Srila Prabhupada, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and my Shiksha Guru, His Grace Harimohan Das Prabhuji, for explaining to us the most secretive knowledge of Bhagavad Gita in such simple manner. I thank you for listening to the Bhagavad Gita shlokas so carefully and attentively. Please do write what you have learnt in today's verse, and in case you have any questions, please do write. I shall definitely try to answer by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Now we shall meet the next week with the next shlok. Till then, watch the video very carefully, share it with others, and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavon ki jai. Hare Krishna.